Apple, Peacock.
Peacock?
I have Peacock. Yeah.
Dude,
There's a good show on there. There's a couple good shows.
You're playing if you have Peacock, bro.
It's whatever. You know, I have to have them all. It's like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. But
No, I feel you. It's Tom.
It's Jake.
You already know.
It's pretty spot on. All right, ready?
All right, we are back for another quick take.
This time, the new LA spot, the new LA Cribbo studio.
If you're watching right now on YouTube, it probably looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
I got a little office space in Los Angeles we'll probably touch on it later in this episode, but there's a really good corner that works well for podcasting. So now when you're in town, we can...
Well, I think you initially got it for kind of like the just business stuff, tutorials, videos, things we wanted to do for like Tropic, Prism. And then it was like, because we were talking, it was like, we want to make sure we really stay on the podcast episodes, like on the weekly, getting you guys content and episodes. Totally. And we bounce around so much, like we were just shooting for like the last 3 days and cleaning up the studios. And we realized like, oh wow, we don't like have a podcast episode for Monday.
Yeah.
And then we're like, let's just use your studio and build a setup. So now we have like,
kind of like a satellite location. Yeah. We'll probably try to record more of them in Arizona because more of like the equipment is there. But I had these mics and it was like, it's tricky because when we bang these out, to kind of be able to put them out every week, usually I'll come in and we'll record like 3 or 4 in one day.
Right.
So that gives us like a month, 4 episodes for every week, but we were kind of like when you flew in this week or drove in, I was like, dang, like we don't have any more left. So,
and I think we do want to give you guys more types of content than just podcast episodes. Obviously that will be the meat of this channel, what we want to do with the podcast. But we were talking about doing like, maybe bi-weekly or once a month, like a separate piece of content that's still related around like kind of a quick take, whether it's like a quick gear review or a quick onset tip, and like kind of do it in the same vein of what the podcast is, the look and feel but like, giving you guys some other stuff as well. So.
Which I think we have a couple in the queue. So maybe shortly after this episode airs, in some form, it'll be released on YouTube. I mean, in terms of like audio, if you're listening, this is more just kind of a bonus for the people that are watching.
Yeah, just bonus for YouTube content, people watching it. They're not going to be like on those little topics and things won't be on a podcast, but the podcast episodes will strictly always, be on.
Yeah, but kind of to break this space in, I thought a fun episode would be, we were talking about it a little bit, kind of similar to us sharing our worst set experiences, where it was like a speed round of a bunch of different stories. I thought this would be a cool episode to do like a speed round of just like not one singular take, but like a bunch of small little takes, like what we're watching, what we're doing, just kind of like just touch on, what we're up to for 2022.
Yeah. Maybe even some goals. Maybe even chatting about some goals, but what we've been up to even just since start of January. Yeah. Cause I mean, January is almost over.
It is kind of crazy how fast, I mean, you've already been in town for a week and, we've been shooting a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we start there. Like what I came in town to do and work on.
Something we do a lot as, brand owners, from owning Prism Lens Effects and Tropic Color and the various studios, is we do these things called content days. And content days is where we kind of go into the day with the singular mission of like, all right, we got this new filter, this new, grain, or this new whatever, right? And we want to essentially create content, phone videos, photos, campaigns with our reds, like just get a bunch of content for that thing. And that we
stuff for reels, social media, Facebook ads, website, just kind of everything.
So like the whole kind of, you coming into town was like, let's, twofold. We got to kind of go back and refresh and clean up some of our studios because naturally, as you heard in our Peer Space episode, they do get kind of ran through.
Yeah, if you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to that. But yeah, that was kind of one of the initial like missions of me coming out, was like, hey, let's go and refresh Honeymoon. And, there was a couple sets we wanted to finish that weren't finished yet. Mm-hmm. Some that we did a deep cleaning. We had new props that we brought in, just really reset, refresh it, finish off some sets. So that was like a whole thing that we wanted to do. I needed to go up to the Eclectic West and clean up because like some winds had knocked down one of the sets.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I like to go up there like typically once a month and like clean up all the trash that film crews leave behind, see what things need to be fixed. Cause naturally, like you said, like as film crews are blowing through this space and running through it, like stuff gets broken or tweaked or whatever. And so, I had to like clean up this whole section that like the wind knocked over and remove some props. And then was talking with my on-site manager, who's actually my neighbor. And she watches out over the property. So if you ever try and sneak on, you will get caught. That is a fact. She's my neighbor. Hawkeyes watching that property. But yeah, talking to her about the things that she suggests, just being the site rep of what film crews and photo shoots and things want, but then like telling her my bigger picture and goals for us. So that was like a big thing that I needed to do. But in doing that, like knowing like, hey, we're going to go to these studios and freshen them up. It was like, all right, let's piggyback off of that and do some shoots because we have some new filters.
Well, funny how that all came about. We actually didn't even have those filters.
Oh, dude, that's right.
We literally were in the midst of like painting a wall, and our warehouse manager back in Arizona was like, hey, like the designs that you guys sent off to the manufacturer, like they've just given you the initial prototypes and like sent us a phone video. And we're like, dang, like
we're shooting, mind you, we're shooting tomorrow.
I think that day was initially just going to be like, hey, like, oh, it's funny. Our agency was like, hey, like these ads have been performing very well, like these filters. And then we're talking about Prism Lens Effects, by the way. They're like, hey, can you do like a refresh? Like go film a new piece of content for the dream or for this. Right. All right, cool. Let's do that.
Right.
And then literally like we got that phone video from our manager, like, hey, we got like literally 10 filters, right? 10 different things we've been working on over the last like 6 months. They finally came. And it's just been tricky with all like the supply chain issues. Everything's been delayed. Like we literally sent those designs to our manufacturer months. Literally it seemed like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. And so a couple of them, we've gone through a couple revisions just because.
Like dialing in the strength of the softness. Yeah. I mean, that's just also a side note for Prism. I just want to like kind of echo that it's definitely not us just like taking something that exists and drop shipping and putting a laser engraved logo. Like we are getting it, checking the softness. No, the glass needs to be coated differently. Oh, add more of this. So like it's literally sometimes it takes up to a year of back and forth until we are literally looking at like, this is it.
This is it. Yeah.
Because I want someone to be able to pull it out of their camera bag and it's like, wow, like this is what I saw on their website. Not like, this is way different than.
Which the two ones that I'm just like, I think turned out better than I could have ever thought, was, the new Halo and the new Rose. Honestly, Night Vision is going to be sick too. There's so much stuff we're so stoked on. And we like Tom said, we got lucky. Our warehouse manager literally hit us up the day we're cleaning honeymoon. This is the day before we're supposed to shoot a refresh of some of the older products. We're like, hey, can you fly in ASAP in the morning, the day of the shoot, and drop off these filters? She flew in. We met her at the airport, picked up the filters, went to the studio and shot basically a whole content promo day around these new filters and prototypes, and didn't do stuff for the old stuff. And
it just seemed to make sense since we already had like models and photographers. We like flew out this guy from Arizona who does like concert laser stuff for like Zed and like massive DJ acts. So like he literally has like some equipment that only like 7 vendors in the world.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys were asking me like on the various social medias, like what laser setup is that? Like I just can't answer that because it's not something you can just go buy or pick up.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's made by Airy and you can get it at a rental house. It's like very much like a specialty.
And he has like special built software that he uses. Yeah, it's not. So sorry.
Maybe even just a brief touch on that. So I guess to slow it down, we are talking about a recent shoot where we used basically lasers. And lasers are interesting. Like I've always been under the impression that like, and it's true, like if you literally even take a laser pointer and like hit a camera, that diode or like that luminance is so bright and hot that it actually like fries the sensor.
Yeah.
So this guy was a pro. His company's name is Nice Lasers. And literally like, before you even turn it on, he has to like in his software draw the dimensions to make sure a camera or person isn't in the path of destruction. And like even if you were to like go walk in and change a prop, he had to like turn off the lasers because if the laser is hitting something for more than like a few seconds, it'll actually burn a hole. Yeah. Like it's that powerful.
Well, he held his shirt up to the laser and was like, just so you guys know. And like he went over to the laser machine, put his shirt up, and it literally like after a few seconds just started smoking and it burned a hole through his shirt.
No, yeah, this is like pretty serious.
Yeah.
But no, it looks great. I mean, we have yet to see some of the photographs from our photographer that we brought on, but even just some of the stuff I was just getting from the sidelines like looked insane.
Speaking of stuff you're getting from the sidelines, what were you shooting with, Tom? So this trips me out. Tom is just like the little like MacGyver that could. Like I feel like every single time I link up with you, you have like some new contraption you've built or some new hobby you've started.
I think it's a blessing and a curse. I constantly, not that I get bored easily. I just like to keep myself busy. And if it's not stuff that's like for our companies, I just have like little fun weekend projects.
Well, I feel like you hit me up like, gosh, what was it, a few weeks ago or maybe even just a week ago? Yeah, I got the new studio space so we can start doing like more tutorials and stuff for the companies.
Like in January 2 or something.
Yeah, and then when I came in here the other day, we came in here to like just work a little bit, get out of the house. And you had this whole grid rigging system rigged up to the ceiling to where you could mount lights and stuff. And I was like, when did you do this, bro?
Yeah, like, it looks more, it's literally just like, I'm sure we all as kids played with like Kinects and Legos. It's just like Legos for adults.
I guess.
But if you were to zoom out on one of these cameras, I'm sure you've been to like, I mean, if you're a filmmaker, photographer, like one of those like speed rail grids, like, so, I mean, these two sound blankets are just like rigged to that. But I think we're getting off topic. I think what you were about to say is like the camera I was shooting on.
Yeah. Right? So you just randomly hit me up and like, yo, I think I'm going to start shooting medium format. And you picked up a Mamiya, what is it, RZ?
It's called the RZ67. Yeah. And like a kind of maybe, if we're kind of using this episode just to kind of like just go into a bunch of different, topics and lanes, like a quick take on this camera. Our buddy Marty, whose like moniker on Instagram is 6TIFF.
6.tiff.
Yeah, he amazing. Check him out, by the way. A great follow. He does a lot of beautiful medium format stuff out, and he's always been like kind of someone we bring on to our content days. And like when as we're talking about those content days, I'm shooting usually on the Gemini with Steadicam, and we just bring him on to like shoot on the sidelines and get really dope film photography.
Right.
And it was funny, like when we were making a lot of our ad campaigns for like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the Christmas thing that we did, I was using a lot of his photos in a lot of that stuff because I just like the way they feel, the way they look. And it was around that time where I was like, you know what, like we're probably still going to rock with him, but I love this camera. And I just found a vendor online that like basically refurbishes them, because this is a camera that was made in like the 80s and 90s. I mean, it's literally film. So it's obviously a medium that's, obviously I wouldn't say on its way out, but it's very much been around for a while.
Right.
So yeah, I've got the camera and been trying it out. And yeah, honestly, I will say like that camera alone has kind of relit a fire or my interest in photography. And I've always loved photography. I have like a DSLR, but there's something about like just like how precious the film it is. I mean, when you shoot medium format, you only have 10 exposures. So literally like a roll of film is like probably $15. So you already, if you do the mental math there, it's a couple bucks per photo, but it's another 15 to scan the film. So you're basically, it's $30 for 10 photos. So anytime you click the shutter, it's $3. So you kind of have to like, as you're framing up, is this a $3 shot?
Right.
Damn, and that's when you were looking at me, like when we were even shooting yesterday, when you fire the shutter, it's a pretty large camera.
Hefty. It's like a thud. Yeah. But with that shutter sound, it's like...
And that's when you kind of know like, that was...
Well, it's funny because there's some shots you take, I feel like you were like shooting, it's like you take the photo, oh nice, and you move on and whatever. And then there was like some moments where you would like take it, and as soon as you would click it, you just like felt it in your gut. You were just like, oh,
the way the camera works too is like when you fire the shutter, it actually closes like a little like mechanical thing that actually covers the film so you don't get like kickback or lights. So essentially when you take a photo, when you take a photo on DSLR, you're still looking at your image.
Right.
On that camera, when you fire the shutter, it just puts a black shield. So it's kind of like you see the last little like, frame that you're framing up on. And then like sometimes you just know like, dang, that was it. You know what I mean? So it's a different workflow. I've been kind of learning a lot about it. And yeah, I had a ton of fun yesterday, even just messing around with it.
And then you kind of inspired me by basically being like, this is before the shoot, but when you said you picked up the medium format, I kind of went on a little deep dive and I bought my own medium format as well. Not the same camera, but a Pentax 6x7.
Yeah.
Still on its way being shipped. But yeah, so like I think our goal with that is to just like slow down, be a little more intentional, and take like road trips and go out and shoot some film. Like I'm the same way, like all of the film photos from all of our different campaigns and things. I love so much.
They're just more in line with our brands.
More in line with the brands. And I think our taste, like any music video that I shoot or project, I'm always adding film grain. I'm blurring the image a little bit. I'm just trying to give it that texture. And I think a lot of our Tropic Color products are built off of film texture effects and things. Totally. And so I think that lends itself to kind of both of our tastes. And so, I was like, there's moments where you lose that passion for photography when you can just literally like, and you
not only
fire
that,
off like
literally
30
we
shots.
have a really good camera in our pockets right now. And
Yeah.
and even when we were shooting the laser setup, the way the lasers kind of fire is sometimes when you take a photo, I'm sure if you've shot like a television, you get that rolling shutter. Sometimes the laser wouldn't even be in the shot. So you kind of by design had to hold the shutter and shoot like 10 or 15 photos. So like even in doing that, like that night, I went home, I was on
looking
Lightroom,
through the photos.
I had hundreds of photos, and there is something kind of nice about self-editing in your brain. And yeah, that worked for that scenario because we were shooting lasers, but it's like, with film, when you get the roll back from the film lab, they're just going to send you 10 photos if you shot one roll, and it's like, those are the 10.
Well, and there is something exciting. I feel like sometimes too, when you shoot film, because I've shot film in the past, not medium format, but like even with a point and shoot, there's something like fun and exciting about getting that roll back and be like, oh yeah, this was on here or this, and like seeing the shot again. Like, I don't know.
I kind of thought about
almost like opening
why that is, and think about it. Even our photographer yesterday, he took a bunch of photos. He was able to airdrop them to his phone, edit them in Lightroom, and instantly show us. And right then and there, we basically saw the final within moments of him taking the photo, which was cool. But I think film, you don't tend to get that result, that same satisfaction till days later. Yeah. And I feel like in those days of the film lab scanning it, or maybe it's sitting in your backpack and you haven't dropped it off, sometimes a week will go by, like, oh fuck, I forgot I took that. Right. And you kind of like get to re-fall in love with the thing you took, where I think DSLRs are kind of so immediate. You kind of get that instant shot. Oh, it looks great. Oh, it's out of focus. And there's something kind of cool about kind of forgetting about what you shot and then rediscovering. Like,
I think even too, just imperfections. Sometimes like, I think what's dope about film is, whether it's like a blur or a light streak or not overexposure, but just what am I thinking of? Like an expiration of it, and you get some light leak or whatever it is. Like, I think sometimes those imperfections and textures are just cool too. Whereas like digital is usually so just sharp, tactile, plain. There's not a lot of character to it. Like, yeah, you can get a great composition and frame, but there's not a lot to it outside of that. And like you said, it's so instant. You take the photo, you see it, it's like, cool. But there's something about that waiting period, that hype, that suspense, that anticipation that is always like so cool.
Yeah,
and fun.
No, I feel like we have everybody has naturally had like a fascination with that sort of medium and like those imperfections. I mean, if you even think of Instagram, its icon is a film camera. Yeah. And when it first launched, and maybe it still does, like all of the effects are like film effects, like X Pro 2, which is like a camera, or like Fuji. It's like, so everything's it is always a giant callback to kind of those, shooting on film and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of been a recent sort of, excitement or thing I've been enjoying, and it's been really cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love the camera. Like one more time, it's the Mamiya RZ67. Yeah. But there's different ones too. I mean, I think, you said you got the Pentax
6x7. Yeah. And I have a little point and shoot too, just for like, I got it for more trips. So that those like I got it right before my honeymoon to Croatia with Chanel. Cause I was like, man, I don't want to take my digital camera and literally just, when you take a film camera, you have to be so much more intentional and you have less shots. So it's like, you can't just always be pulling out your camera. Oh, let me get the shot. Shoot it 5 times. Look at it. Oh, that wasn't good. Let's try this angle. Yeah. You just you get to be a little more present and in the moment. And I was like going on my honeymoon. I was like, bro, I don't want to bring my digital camera because I know I'll just be shooting. And so I just bought a little point and shoot film camera.
I love point and shoot.
Kodak. And it was cool. Then getting back those, and so many of the photos are on Prism Lens Effects website, because I took the nostalgia filter. I was like, nostalgia filter, Croatia, honeymoon vibe, vintage, shooting film, and it looks sick. But like getting those rolls back and seeing, there's this one shot where I'm like Croatia, Dubrovnik is wild, insane. I wish you could have been there. Like, it's like you're literally in this castle and we're in these alleyways, and we stopped at this pub and I was drinking this beer and I gave the camera to Chanel and she like put on the flash and took a photo. That photo is like, there's like these crazy like light streaks, but like I'm in focus, but I'm kind of blurry. That's and crazy. Like, and it's such a vibe. Like, and it's one of my favorite photos, and it just, I don't know, just boom, takes it. We got back to just enjoying our drink, conversation. And
for sure. I think sometimes too, when you have like your DSLR and you've got your 24-70, but then you also got your 16-35, you like sometimes feel the urge to like, okay, we're in a really cool scenic point. Shoot. I got to shoot it at all different focal lengths. It's like sometimes like that. I like to call it analysis paralysis. Having too many options to analyze and choose from actually can sometimes paralyze you. Yeah. So when you have a point and shoot, it's got a built-in lens. Sometimes the flash will fire if it's too dark and it might be blurry, but like at least I don't know.
Yeah.
I also feel like too, memories, I don't want to get too philosophical, but like if you think of a memory is kind of fuzzy and sometimes maybe a little foggy if it's like a distant memory. And I feel like sometimes film is like evocative of that because I feel like memories aren't tactile and crystal sharp. So for you, to look back on your honeymoon and the photos already kind of feel like a memory. It's kind of cool actually. You know what I mean?
Chanel really likes Polaroids. She always takes Polaroids because she likes that. My issue
with those is like the margin of error is so paper thin.
That's true.
I even take Polaroids for like the worst day ever podcast I do. Like if a guest is here, I'll take a Polaroid, have them sign it and tack it to a wall. And even just being 1 foot away with a controlled light, sometimes the flash will fire and just blow out everything.
Yeah.
Like it would almost be like shooting with a camera that has no dynamic range. It's like shooting with like a potato. You know what I mean?
Dude, I saw this, it was like kind of a meme or a photo on Instagram the other day. It was literally, people are so funny and weird. It was a camera sitting on a desk with just literally a potato gaff taped to where the lens should be.
Oh, wow.
I don't, when they're like, oh, shooting with a potato, but someone had the balls or whatever to literally just uncap their camera's like lens and stick a potato there.
That's hilarious.
Like gaff tape it, but
yeah.
No. What else you been up to though?
Yeah, I mean, this has been kind of a fun weekend project. I mean, something I've been doing a lot of is getting more like in front of the camera and recording a lot of stuff.
You've gotten good at that.
Our companies and brands. And I think it kind of stems from this. I mean, we got 3 cameras on us now, but there was a period of time like during the pandemic where I literally just was in my garage when the world shut down recording a bunch of courses for cinematography and music videos.
Yeah.
And just doing something naturally for like 10,000 hours. I've touched on it. You just kind of start to like develop
get a rhythm,
like more of a sensibility for it. And it's funny. I remember watching a YouTube video. I think it's from your original studio where I had like a weird man bun. And it was
when
like,
I first moved to LA. Yeah.
And it was like against your wall. I think you had the red paper.
Yeah.
And I remember like I was kind of trying to emulate you, like, being all excited, like.
Dude, I look back at that and it's so cringe. I'm like, what's up, guys? Jakob Owens here, and today I'm going to show you behind the scenes of the set. And it's like, no, I remember that was the original studio when I first moved to LA.
Some people can really pull that off. Like, I know Peter McKinnon kind of does like, what's up, everybody? I can't do that. I'm more of just like my knobs turned down a little bit. I'm more like chill, like kind of like this, right? And whenever I kind of do that, like, what's up, everybody? Like, I just feel out of character and kind of like fake.
No, a lot of people put on, basically a persona when they're on these, videos and things, because a lot of times people gravitate towards those people that
high energy
are just like high energy and all over the place. But like, even like Logan Paul, like it's very like when he used to do his vlogs and stuff, like, and just most of the time he's very like crazy and energetic and this and that. But guy, like realistically off camera, like no one's acting like that all the time. And so like, I remember one time I met him with Zach. We went up to a spot when he was living in LA. He was just the most chill, calm person.
When the cameras are
there
on.
was no sense of like, yeah, bro, da-da-da-da-da-da. It was just like this. Totally chill.
Look, you don't want to be boring. I don't want this to be a snooze fest, but I also feel like there's value in being relatable. And I think a lot of people can relate to somebody who sounds like them or talks like them and isn't this like over heightened version of themselves.
Right.
And for me, at least, it's just, I'm more comfortable doing that. But yeah, I guess to circle back to where this convo started, I've been in this space recording a lot of like tutorials, and I've kind of just realized like a big part of my role in the company is, given that like our fulfillment center and stuff is all in Arizona, is like my contribution is like creating video content that will help, be on the landing page. If like, I can't say how many people like, hey, what size step up ring do I need? Or hey, how do I access my files? So like kind of creating like a video tutorial that lives on the site.
You do a good job at that stuff too.
Yeah, like, kind of, but we call them like explainer videos or tutorial videos.
But I think even one, you've gotten great on camera with that. You are very, you explain things well. You're very well spoken. Your calm demeanor, I think, helps with all that stuff. But then you also do a really good job, which is like the graphic side of things. Like
that comes from just making all those graphics.
Yeah, you've gotten really nasty at the graphics, not just for the video stuff.
Yeah, a little arrow pointing circle.
But like even just the stuff for the website, social pieces, building out pages on the websites, but creating graphics for like the email campaigns.
That's been another like deep dive I've been on. It's just like kind of getting the Photoshop side of things, because we have an agency who, I mean, just shout out if anyone from Weekends listening, they've crushed like bringing us to the next level as far as just I mean, dude, I look back at our old Squarespace site and it's kind of cringy.
Yeah. But that was just like a year ago.
Yeah, no, it is nuts. Cause actually, if you go on Vimeo, I don't even know who uses Vimeo these days, but if you go on Vimeo, there's like a sort by date added, and if it'll literally flip the catalog where it's like your first upload. And
you started watching.
And one of the first uploads was like one of our like first promo videos for Tropicolor. And like we're like literally we captured our screen and it's like our old website. I'm like, dang, you know, but like I said, it's not even that long ago. But I guess what I'm trying to say is they've helped kind of like elevate our site. And I was kind of at a point where I was like, you know what, I want to like learn some of this stuff too. And like I kind of prototyped out a new landing page and I think it looks,
I think a good one, if you guys want to go see kind of like what Tom roughed up, our new landing page for Film Titles Volume 2 on Tropicolor is something that Tom basically built in Photoshop, sent to our agency, and our creative agency sent it to our website developers, and they basically replicated exactly what you made to where
under the hood with under the
hood, exactly under the hood, so that we could just drag and drop like the assets when we want to build out a page. 100%. So it's like, so now we have this template on the website that you basically designed. They created on the back end, and now you can go in and when we drop a product, you can just boom, drag and drop, add this video, this image.
It is literally the perfect synergy, because there was a moment in time, like we're talking about all these little things I like to learn. I actually tried to learn how to code just for fun, and it's literally, I could not tell you of anything. It's worse than jury duty, man. Like it is so much like you have to make this thing called a div block, which is indented and it lives underneath it. And it's like,
it's so far beyond
I'm more
my
of a creative person. So like it was easier for me to like, hey, I want this image to live here inside this yellow box, go. And like under the hood, because if you like go right click view page source, it shows you all the code. I'm like, oh, I can't, my brain's not wired that way. You know?
No, it looks so good.
So, but yeah, that's been kind of fun. Just like learning Photoshop, and I've always known how to use Photoshop, but like there's some stuff like in Photoshop. I mean, much of like Premiere Pro, like there's like anyone knows how to like kind of move footage around, but it's funny to like see, sometimes I even catch myself in Premiere Pro. I'm like, wow, like there's like little hotkeys you just do kind of like on autopilot. And it's like, I'm kind of starting to like tap into that in Photoshop, like making these like clipping masks that only affect this thing. And it's like me a year ago, like I was like so foreign to that.
That's like foreign language to me, even that stuff. Like I don't, like I can appreciate that stuff, but like my brain can't wrap around that, and I don't find that interesting or fun in any way. See, I love the editing all of our video stuff, like all of our
touch on maybe that. Instagram, this can be a fun like pivot take to what you've been really doing a lot.
I guess what I've started focusing on more in terms of content wise for the different brands is like reels for Instagram. I found a real rhythm and fun.
A rhythm? I see what you did there.
But that was unintentional. I'm glad you recognize that.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yes, I found a real rhythm with reels, and it's fun. It's almost like a little game for me. Like I love like, all right, what could I make that could potentially like go viral or be crazy, and like then seeing the.
Well, do you want to maybe touch on like why? Because I feel like you wouldn't do it if there wasn't actually value in it. Like what have you noticed from a top-down perspective? Because you really do run the social media. Like maybe even touch on like posting a photo from that campaign or posting a reel from that campaign. How they each perform, you know?
I've just noticed that anything that I do or make or post that revolves around like phone videos, and then specifically reels, like just has grown like the different like platforms or social media so much more, right? And it's like, you know, you could take something strictly from that same campaign that's like dope ass photo, and then you do a reel that's like one video clip and another video clip on the phone. It doesn't even have to show a result. And like that reel will just get so many more comments, interaction. Instagram is pushing, they want reels to be popular. They want video particular too. It doesn't have to be reels. Like I posted Wiz Khalifa just shot at the Eclectic West. I didn't make a reel. I just posted a single, I think like 10, 15, probably 15 second shot from a phone. You know,
BTS
as a video. Yeah. BTS as a video, not a reel, to my Instagram. And it did, 60,000 views and 100 plus comments. And it wasn't a reel. I think just in general, Instagram is pushing the very digestible, video content, mainly pertaining to like phone stuff that like just feels like people aren't watching a polished product or an ad or a commercial. Like it sucks. Like we as filmmakers spend so much time working on something. You might spend countless days prepping for this music video, shooting a music video, edit, blah, blah, blah. You do all this stuff, get it colored, and it gets put out, and you post that video, which is like you work so hard on, and this is your craft, and barely gets any traction.
Yeah.
Let's just say it gets 5,000 views.
Sometimes too, if you even post a video clip, maybe you ripped it from like YouTube, it sometimes even just gets taken down because it's not even your song.
Yeah. And so you spend all this time, you post it, barely gets interaction. You post a phone video that is BTS from that same set that's 10 seconds long and it shows like a couple cool, quick behind the scenes moments with like a catchy sound.
Yeah.
And it'll 100,000, 500,000 views compared to like what you work so hard on. The actual finished product of what you got hired for might have 5,000, 10,000, like if that, like, and so it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of a crazy world we live in right now where people just want that quick, digestible,
well, I think we've all, as like a species of everyone who uses, Instagram or social media or, stuff of that nature, I think we're very, very smart in the sense that we know what an advertisement looks like. And if we're starting to see something that's like overproduced, really polished, we kind of think, and we are being served an ad. So it's like, oh, a skip. And we've noticed that like some of our like video campaigns that we'll put on our social media, like we'll spend, 3 to 5K sometimes on these massive things for our companies. And like literally like maybe 1,000 views and 3 comments. But if it's literally, as you said, like an iPhone video of that, like I know it's tricky because like I know there is value in like being, you can't, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like there is value in having that high produced piece of content for like Instagram or Facebook marketing and stuff. But it is crazy to just see the metrics of Reels.
Yeah. I mean, a good, I guess, quick example is not that we spent so much time on it, but the little promo video you made for the new Halo filter that is shot using footage from our Red cameras, looks clean, professionally, got the titles.
Has graphics, animations.
Dope's clean, shows what the product does, and I guess a decent amount of like interaction, views, and comments and whatnot. But then a single phone clip that I threw a silly sound behind, and it just shows me shooting with in your backyard, shooting a lemon, like shooting a shot of a lemon on a tree. And then it goes to the phone and I just swipe through like 3 photos, and bro, it's like 100 plus thousand views, 200 plus comments or whatever. It's just like, it's insane. And so it's an interesting time that we live in, and you kind of, I don't know, I've just been diving into it a little bit more. But there was a minute, like, I want to say a couple months ago, where I was just like, dude, I feel so old. I was just like, I don't like, I pulled up.
That's how I feel about TikTok, honestly.
Yeah. It's like, I pulled up these reels and I was like trying to make my first one. And I was just like, I literally was like, I can't do this. Like, this is, I can't, like, not.
Well, especially the formula is so funny. Like, I actually watched you make one where it's like the voice to text, like, I started out at, and it's like the robot voice. And it's like, there clearly is like a recipe to these things.
Yeah.
I mean, we were even finding out a recipe is like showing a phone video midway through, kind of switches to showing some of those examples that you got on set. And it's like a hybrid reel, like
there's just so many different ways you can make stuff. So there's no real right or wrong way. I just think the best way is to use as much phone stuff as possible. But yeah, it's just a very interesting time that we live in regards to like that stuff. But no, I've dove into that pretty heavily, and that's like, I make all of those for all the different like companies and have to do all that. And it's overwhelming at times because that's the tough part, is like, I'm good at it. No one knows better about the brands than I do. We know what we want to do. Sort of like trying to hire someone to like make reels or like relay information or send them all the videos. It's like, I'd rather just do it myself.
Yeah. And I feel like your finger's very on the pulse because you are going in, zeroing out the DMs, and in the DMs, people are like, yo, love your filter. Here's an example shot. So put, you can just move that around, But
the I guess the con to all that is like, these last 2 days, the 2 content days, just an ungodly amount of photos, videos, phone videos.
We haven't even gotten half the stuff back.
And I was like, dude, I was scrolling through my phone and I'm just like, dude, I don't even know where to start. Like, and then, you have the Buff Nerds IG, Tropic, Prism, Honeymoon, Eclectic, I think I said Tropic, Barracks, like just so many things. And it's just like, it can get very overwhelming at times where it's like,
especially too when you like are, by design I mean, I know we do a lot, but like, you don't, I'm sure in your brain, you're like, dang, I had to spend like 2 hours making these reels, which there is value in, but it's like, dang, like like I'm sure you, as we've talked about, want to make shorts into movies. So it's like kind of like this tightrope of like your time.
Yeah, it really is. Cause it's like, there's such value in it, but like at what point do you kind of give up making some of that stuff to focus on other stuff? And yeah, I think it's finding a balance, but no, it's fun, but it can be time consuming. If I only had to do it for like 1 or 2 IGs, not a big deal. Like if all I had to do is Jakob Owens and all I did was making reels for my thing, maybe one other side hobby I had, that's not a big deal. But when you're talking about like 8 different profiles.
Yeah. And for anyone listening who's like, I don't know if that's for me. Like, I think I really saw this morning, actually, you made a reel about your desert property. Yeah. And it literally, like, within just the car ride over here, it absolutely, I mean, it went viral. Yeah. And that account literally jumped up 1,000 followers in the span of an hour. So, I mean, there is value in it.
That was, I mean, case in point this morning, you watched me make it. I even asked you, I was like, what do you think about the hook for this one? And so I like definitely made it, posted it. We like literally left for Guitar Center, went to Guitar Center to get these mics for today. Yeah. And while I was there, like I pulled it up and it was already like just going absolutely crazy. Yeah. I was like, and then I went to the Eclectic West IG page and it shot up from like, I think I had like 7,021 followers, like very low, just crossed 7,000. Mm-hmm. And I think as of right now, I'm about to hit 8,000. Yeah. So like over 1,000 followers within a matter of hours. And and all of those are potential customers to shoot there. And now people, so it's just,
that's one of my goals for the year. I want to, do it more, definitely carve out time to do that stuff. I mean, I do a lot of things, like we've touched on Photoshop and I've been working on this. So it's like, I need to just carve out time to make some, because I do see the value in it. I kind of feel like
Are you talking about for your
reels,
page?
Or just in general? Either.
But it's like, I got that on lock, but are you saying to like help?
I don't know. Yeah. I just want to, I kind of right now feel like my parents, when I was a kid and like I got MySpace, my parents were like, what is that? Like, I feel like I like don't want to be left behind, like I want to learn.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, not learn as if it's rocket science, but there is definitely some elements to it.
Yeah. I kind of gave you a little crash course this morning and was showing you
the thing that honestly would drive me nuts, because I'm very proficient in Premiere Pro. I mean, you just kind of blade tool snapping, like watching you try to like sync up when the song's like dun, 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 like trying to like clip. It's like, and then you're a frame off. It's like, what the fuck? Where in Premiere, you just go bump it over a frame.
Dude, the worst
They need a better editor, I think.
They do. And it trips out all the time, at least for me. I don't know if other people have issues, but like when I'm editing, it doesn't, when I preview it, it's not like how I edit it. It's like off, or clips are like delayed somehow, whether that's just in a preview or I don't know. It's rough and can be very, very frustrating. Like trying to make that Eclectic West one this morning was absolutely brutal. Yeah. There's so many cuts. And I think the longer you make them, the more the app is like having trouble.
Well, if you think about it too, especially with your new iPhone, the cinematic mode, the footage is probably like ProRes.
That might be it.
So it's
might be it. Because I used all those shots were like cinematic mode.
Maybe.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But even the laser one that I was making for Tropic or Prism this morning was having those same issues, and those weren't cinematic mode. So
I guess to kind of maybe close this episode out, I would love, given that this is recording.
Hold on, real quick. Shows. What's the show? Because I've told you. Yeah. Let's close it out with the show. Well,
I was
there's some hot shows that have come out recently.
The closeout actually would be a conversation, but I was kind of segueing maybe to the third act of this episode. Okay. Would be like our goals for the year. Oh, but I'm down to maybe dive into that after we just maybe quick riff on what we've been watching. Okay. Mine because it's funny. I sometimes have to like think about these episodes as like, they might be listened to like years from now.
Right.
This is 2022 in January. So someone's like, oh, they were listening to that. That was so long ago. But as of now, like this is almost like a time capsule we're putting into the ground. I've been watching Euphoria. The show's pretty god level in terms of cinematography. That's on HBO. And then my kind of like, how do you say this? Like
guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. I was gonna, not that it's embarrassing. We love, me and Jordan.
Bachelor.
No, we like one of my like kind of guilty pleasures. I love Gordon Ramsay. So we've been watching Next Level Chefs. Can I just explain the concept of it? It's pretty dope. Fine. So they definitely had some budget on this one. There was an indie movie that came out years ago. I don't know the name of it, but it was basically they built multiple levels and like it was like a prison. So like food would go down, and by the time it reached the bottom of the jail, it'd all be like scraps and like chicken bones. But at the top, it was like the best. So like it was like interesting. So basically, they built 3 levels basement, mid kitchen, and like luxe kitchen. And the same ingredients go down an elevator. And you basically have to, so when it reaches the bottom, there's like no ingredients left. So they all have to like cook at different levels. It's actually, it's pretty
That's
cool.
Interesting. Yeah. That's cool.
It's definitely one of those shows where you get home, you're tired, you crack open a beer. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch.
It's like one of those like kind of like little mind numbing shows.
Yeah.
Like, just,
you literally can even just be on your phone and listen to it. It's just like, doesn't
Yeah.
require too much attention, you know?
That makes sense.
So yeah, those would be my two. Yeah. What have you been watching?
I'm a sucker for Ozarks. Love Ozark. So
I need to get on that.
I'm working on finishing up season 4. I just love the simplicity of the cinematography in that show, the tone, the writing. Just I love like anything thriller, drama, kind of stuff. And
the cinematography is like so consistent.
Yeah, very consistent.
I was like watching that show once. I'm like, did they just shoot everything in shade? Because it always look. There's definitely like a key light, but it's never like spicy backlight.
It's very natural too. I want to say like
it just seems like there could be like highlights off in the background on like the Lake Ozark, but every time they're like by Ruth's house, they're definitely under like some shade.
There's a lot of shows I watch where it's like, say we're sitting at this table, you have this spicy backlight, you got this top rim light,
everything there's like low con,
and it's like it's just like you can tell it's just like super dialed in for a show, whereas like Ozark feels natural. You almost feel like you're watching these people's lives unfold, and it doesn't feel as you know what I mean? Like,
I think I saw something, not to go too off on a tangent, but just on the note of the cine, because I think that's like a reason why a lot of like, I mean, it's a good show. My parents love it and they don't even know anything about cinematography, but I saw this like behind the scenes clip, and I think they like use this, like they call it a grip cloud, and it's like a 20-foot balloon that's black, and they literally just like move it over
to create shade
over us, and it just literally, if the sun was overhead, they just move it and like it puts them in like shade. That way like we're underneath this thing, but like
so that way you never really have that crazy spicy light.
And they might bring in something, but it's kind of cool. Like they've like, I mean, I'm sure at a certain point, like having a visual aesthetic, like setting that as the bar. Now every scene
now that you think about it, I didn't really think about it. There, it always is very.
It just feels like it's either like morning or dusk. It's never like high key bright desert like Hangover where you're like, ugh, you know, it's very like. I love it. I think it shows.
But no, that's one of my go tos. And then True Story, I binge watched that whole show, Kevin Hart's new show, in like 2 days, and
you've been hyping that one up.
Yeah, very good. You need to go watch it.
I love that.
But yeah,
real quick, if you're watching, what are your 2022 show recs? I'm sure there's gonna be some cool ones. There's so much.
I was like, who are you talking to?
I was looking at my camera, but you're like,
I was like, what? Yeah.
There's so many, man. Like it's funny. I think we've all gotten away from like cable subscriptions, like, and now I feel like I have so many subscriptions, like apps that like almost exceed what having Spectrum would be.
I have HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Disney, Apple, Peacock. I have Peacock. Yeah.
Dude,
there's a good show on there. There's a couple good shows.
You're playing if you have Peacock, bro.
It's whatever. You know, I have to have them all. It's like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. But
I feel you. The only one I don't think I have, I think between me and Jordan, we have all of them, but I don't think I have Apple.
Apple's really good. Apple's actually really good. Apple does
I know they got like Morning Show and Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso is one of the best comedy shows I've ever watched.
For real?
Yes. So
I see the billboards driving in LA. So they must have.
Dude, they get a crazy amount of Emmy noms. And my buddy, he loves soccer. And so he was like, bro, you got to watch this Apple Plus show about soccer, this coach. And I was like, just thinking like in my head, like it sounds lame, but like Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, he's funny.
Like, oh my gosh.
I mean,
it's like
SNL.
It's like Steve Carell funny on The Office back in like it's kind of like a version of that in the way, but like a cinematic show, not a cinematic comedy show that's very much like that kind of dumb, funny humor. Like very, very, very good. That's another one I would recommend for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think, and they got this, he struck a new deal for like season 3 where he gets like $1 million an episode. Now, or it might even be a lot more than that. And like their budget went crazy through
I always
the roof
thought about that
everything.
for shows. Like once a show's on its like 3rd or 4th season, I'm sure like the main talent's like, yo, you need me.
Run
like,
this bag. Yeah. No,
like that's
always.
what I remember hearing. And maybe now in today's numbers adjusted to inflation, probably more. I remember 2.5 Men that
what's Charlie Sheen.
Dude, I think near the end of his career, because I know they did replace him. Right. His contract I think was either like $1 to $5 million an episode.
Yeah.
And I remember that show's on like every week. I'm like, damn, he's caking.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, 2022. So just bigger goals, bigger pictures.
So
for you, what's like, 1 or 2? What do you think?
It's funny. I mean, it may sound like this just stemmed from yesterday, but like in me picking up that camera, like I would love to really kind of pursue for fun, but also it really does tie into a lot of the brands. I mean, we do have a filter company. Like I want to do more like film photography.
Yeah.
I feel like naturally too, as like a camera operator, it is kind of like almost going to the gym, because like literally by having a camera and like going out,
you're
like flexing
those muscles.
You're literally framing up what you would do if I was operating on a movie. I'm not operating up on an actress. I'm framing up on something. So I kind of want to use film or photography, but I through the vehicle of this camera I just got, and do that a bit more. So yeah, kind of like maybe challenge myself to like go do more road trips, or go out at sunset around my house and maybe do some street photography. That's just kind of something like on not the back burner, but like that's something I want to do on top of everything else we have on our plates.
Right. I like that.
So yeah, that, and then also probably just keep recording stuff here and more video content.
Yeah,
and stuff.
just continue to grow the businesses and just different things. And
yeah, how about you? I know you hinted at building something out at your ranch. That's one of your big goals.
It's probably one of the big ones is building. I would love to build a motel set at Eclectic West.
That'd be sick.
I think it'd be super sick, and just it's been a big goal of mine for a long time, but I think this year would be a cool year for that. And then that's more of like, kind of a studio location business goal. I have so many different things that I want to do.
No, I know. Same here. I
don't know if we can dive into all of it. Yeah, if we're just gonna name like one big goal.
How about this?
That'd be
because I would love to. Ideally, this will continue onward. One of our last recordings in December of this year, let's go back and listen to this episode, and we'll actually see if we held ourselves to it.
Okay.
So mine would be, I would hope in December of 2022, I'd be like, wow, like I really did like kind of really put some effort into pursuing photography a bit more. And
you're right.
What would be one that you'd want to be able to hold yourself to?
We'll see come December, like where that process is. Like
maybe even if you're just in the process of building it or designing it.
As long as it's in the process of being built, because I already have like the design. I kind of put together a little like a pitch deck book of how I want it to look, the texture, the color, et cetera, and sent it over to our art department guy that's helped us build a lot of sets. And I was just like, yo, this is what I want to build. I've had Chanel already dig into like, maybe we do like set deck single wides and make the motel front. Like we're already diving into it.
We almost built a motel set. So like it's been in our sort of brain for a while.
Yeah, we almost did it.
It was gonna be like $100,000 to build it.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe this, and I'm sure you're like, maybe this would be better
down the road and just outside.
That was like the thing we were constantly battling. We're like, oh, it would be like an artistic motel because it's obviously be inside.
Right.
So if you were to tilt up, you're in a studio, so you'd have to put like a green screen. We're like, that might be rough. Or now you would just have a motel outside.
Well, that's why we changed the name from Honeymoon Hideout when I sold the house and we moved to the studio, and we were gonna do the motel set in the back. I was like, okay, Honeymoon Inn, and we're gonna name that's
literally why it informed the motel office and motel room, which I still love those.
No, they're still great sets, and people use them for those things, but also for other things too. So that's cool. But that would be like a big thing of mine that I would love to like definitely see through this year, is among many other things. But if I'm going to name one, we'll start.
And I think a collective goal that we've wanted to do is, and maybe it would live on this channel in some capacity, or I don't know. I really don't know the final vehicle and where it would play, but I know we even in the earlier part of this episode talked about maybe you and I going off and doing these kind of like little road trips with some friends and use it kind of like our content days where they're usually centered around a studio or a bunch of cool lighting, but just like kind of go off and like maybe we go to the Grand Canyon and we bring a not camera crew, but like our friends to film, and we just like create a bunch of cool stuff on that trip and then bring everyone along, so.
I guess one other thing I would I want to do that, be more intentional with those things, do that, and do more kind of road trip-esque stuff with friends and like shooting for the companies in that capacity and less like studio setups and whatnot. Yeah. One more big thing would be, I've just been in talks with a guy about writing a feature film and just like getting a feature film script done. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that would be like a big goal for mine or for me.
God, there's so many that I almost could just turn into this whole
episode. But
really at least those are a couple like top level ones that that'd
be like super top high level ones. I mean, there's like I said, there's so many other things. We might have to say that for another episode and literally just do like all of the ideas and ventures, that we want to like get into, you know what I mean? And goals and, bigger, and it can be goals that aren't even, it could be like the 1 to 2 to 3 year goals too. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Just kind of like our immediate, like big picture things we want to accomplish, do within the next year or two, maybe 3. And that could be like literally like a whole episode. Cause I just know off the top of my brain how many I want to, like, my brain like never stops thinking of all the things that, you know, I could do or want to do.
Yeah.
And like
no, I think we both have a very similar brain.
Yeah.
That kind of pulls us in different directions.
All the time. So
cool. Yeah. That was the first episode in the space.
New studio.
I haven't heard, we don't have headphones on, so maybe it sounds
that's true.
awful.
I didn't
we
even
don't
think
know.
about that.
I'm sure it sounds good, but thank you guys for watching and listening. I think this is episode 14. It's kind of cool. Like
somewhere
how many
around
we've done
there
at this point. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, if you are enjoying the podcast, a comment of some sort, a star rating of some sort in the Apple Podcast app goes a long way.
As well as YouTube. You know, please help us out. We want to get this out to as many people as possible. Continue to help, inspire, inform, and grow with y'all. So drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, share the podcast on Instagram, get other, or, you know, YouTube, whatever, get other people to know about it.
So and just commenting topic ideas or maybe filmmakers or things. Like we've been even talking about maybe doing an episode that's like bringing in somebody who's made some NFTs or like bringing in like stuff that's been happening in our creative space and like doing dedicated episodes.
And I think that's what'll be good about this LA spot is a lot more of those kind of people are here in LA. And so it's hard to get people to Arizona there. So I think having this now kind of dual setup will allow us to get guests in here. So definitely if you guys have any recommendations for guests, that as well. So
but yeah, it's been Tom
and Jake. You already know.